Hello, everyone. I'm Kelly, and we have a new feature of our At Home with Symphoria series, and we're really excited to do some community spotlights of important organizations in our community in Central New York. And today, we're featuring the Central New York Lyme and Tick-Borne Disease Alliance, and I have Ann Messenger, who is the board chair, and Royale Scuderi, who's the executive director with me. Good morning, ladies. How are you?
Good morning.
Great, thank you, Kelly.
We're so excited to be able to use our platform to spotlight other important community organizations. And we feel that that is part of what we can do, especially as we're at home and exploring what it's like to be communicating with people like this in this format. And so thank you so much for being here. And Royale, why don't you start with just telling us a little bit about your organization and what you do in our community?
Sure. So, as you said, we're the Central New York Lyme and Tick-Borne Disease Alliance, and we realize that this is a growing problem. We are a hotspot for ticks, and it is endemic in this area. And we realize that this is a very complex issue. We have all of the resources here in Central New York. We are lucky that we do have medical professionals, research facilities, academic institutions, community stakeholders who are interested, politicians on board, but they often operate in silos. And so we thought we can do more if we work together. So we are connecting the dots, collaborating in a way that can attack this problem from 4 standpoints, which are education, environment, clinical, research. It really is a multifaceted issue that needs to be tackled from all sides. From the standpoint of patients, doctors, all of us. It's an economic issue. People need information, and we're doing our best to help get them information.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of information, for anyone who's watching who might not know, when you talk about Lyme disease and tick-borne disease, what exactly are you talking about, and how big of a problem is that in Central New York?
Well, Lyme disease is only one of the tick-borne diseases that ticks can carry. There are many and many more that we haven't even identified yet. It is the most prevalent in the United States and in the world, but it is carried by the black-legged tick, and it is, as I said, only one of many, along with powassan, bourbon, the Lone Star tick disease, ehrlichiosis, anaplasmosis, babesia. There's a whole host, but Lyme is one specific disease that is the most common. It is the most well-known. It is, as we know, easier to treat if caught early. If not, it often goes on longer. The longer it goes without being diagnosed, the more difficult the treatment is, and the more likely there are to be lingering symptoms that many of us deal with, chronic Lyme or post-treatment Lyme disease syndrome. So there are many symptoms. There are common symptoms: fatigue, the rash, which many people don't get. That's one of the myths. I did not get that, Ann did not get that. Fatigue, as I said, fever, sweats, chills, joint pain, muscle pain, neck pain, cognitive difficulties. Those are the common sort of symptoms that you hear about. In general, if you catch it early and you go to the doctor and you get your course of doxycycline, many people get better. But there are people who don't, as we said, especially if it's caught late. Mm-hmm. It is a serious problem. We are now finding, with our partnership with the Thangamani Lab, and Saravanan Thangamani, thank goodness, is on our board. We are now tracking. He's collecting data that is showing us that this ticks are in every county, that I think we're close to 40% of ticks now carry at least one pathogen. Many of them carry more. Ticks are not just at green lakes. They're not just hiking in the tall woods. They are in our yards, in our parks, in our background, in our backyards. In fact, we just posted this week our interns about how they're on seaweed on the beach. You can't even get away from them there, which I did not know. We're still learning, right? There's so much about this that we still don't know. But it is a significant threat, a growing threat, especially in this disease, which is why Sarah Vanen moved his entire lab team and brought them here from Texas, because he said that's where the ticks are. So we're thrilled to have him, but it's unfortunate that we are a hotspot.
Yeah. So, one of the reasons why we wanted to highlight your organization is because in a usual year, of course, we would be about to have all of our outdoor summer concerts, which it doesn't look like that's going to be happening exactly like it would be in years past. But we're hopeful that at some point this summer, we have some plans in place to have some socially distanced concerts outdoors. So, Anne, why don't you tell us a little bit about, for example, when we go to an outdoor concert or when we take a walk in the woods with our dogs, that's something that I do frequently where I am. What are some of the things that we can do to protect ourselves?
They're pretty simple, Kelly. I walk a lot at Green Lakes, and my hair stood on end yesterday when I left my car and started off on a path, and there was a young woman standing with what seemed to be her father at the edge of the water in deep grass, wearing shorts, flip-flops, and just having a good time talking with the older man. My hair stood on him. I'm immediately going to, oh my gosh, your body isn't covered. I wondered if you use bug spray. Really simple things. So if your folks are out in the grass, sitting in a chair, whatever, they need to think about preventative measures like wearing long pants, light colored clothing. Pull your socks up over your pants. Everybody's tired of me saying that, but I say it all the time.
We're not trying to make any fashion statements here. Let's just protect ourselves, right?
Right. Think about bug spray. You can get a host of different sprays that have heavy duty chemicals in them. I'm not a big fan of DEET myself, but people are, to other kinds of sprays. And I use something called Ranger Ready Royale, help me out here. The oils, eucalyptus oil, those kinds of
Yes.
natural remedies do work to a degree. They just aren't as powerful or as long lasting. It's very similar to COVID. COVID, take some simple measures. Wash your hands, put on a mask, and social distancing. Same thing for tick bite prevention. Pull your socks up over your pants, wear light covered clothes, and when you get home, do a tick check, take a shower, and again, do a tick check.
Mm-hmm. So what do we do if we find a tick? Do we freak out?
You can freak out, but that's not very helpful.
Okay.
If you find a tick, so Royale mentioned the Thangamani lab. Heavens, we're so lucky to have them. It's Thangamani, THAGAMANI-lab.com. I have a tick that I've sent to the Thangamani lab. I took it off myself. If you have pointy tweezers, or any kind of tweezers really, pointy ones are the best. Get hold of that tick gently and slowly pull it out. If you have no tweezers, just use your fingers, your fingernails, if you can. Pull it out intact. Put it into a plastic baggie. Put in like a damp paper towel so it doesn't get desiccated. Label it, date, time, where you think you picked up the tick, your zip code, pop it in the freezer. Then you can send it to the Thangamani lab, go online and they tell you how to do that. They assign the tick a number. I got my number back. They're evaluating it. Then I can go online and type in my number, 4963, and it tells me if the tick is disease bearing or not.
Mm. Mm-hmm. And if you didn't realize you needed to do all of those steps and you just like flush it down the toilet, should you go to the doctor right away or should you wait? How does that work?
Don't need to go to the doctor right away, in my opinion. Royale, you can tell me not. People freak out. You don't need to freak out. First of all, watch for signs. There's something called a bullseye. It actually looks like a bullseye, or it could look like a bruise, or it could look like just your plain old skin. A big percentage of people do not get the bullseye, or other symptoms can present. Like for me, it was a tiredness beyond tired. I would wake up in the morning, go down, feed the cats, and think, I gotta go back to bed. I don't know what's the matter with me. Turns out I also had something called brain fog. It was like thinking through thick cotton. I had a weird, terrible pain in my foot. Royale had other symptoms that she can describe as well. Weird, mysterious symptoms. Went to a doctor, was misdiagnosed, he thought I had sleep apnea. Went to another doctor. She called me a week later and said, I know why you're so tired. You have Lyme. The symptoms are varied, imprecise, frustrating as all get out. People have traveled far and wide, consulting multiple doctors, trying to pin down whatever they think. That Royale was misdiagnosed left and right with terrible, terrible diagnoses over years. So it's a mystery. I tell anybody, if you're going to a doctor and you can't pin this thing down, go and insist on getting a Lyme test, which, by the way, are sketchy, like COVID. They're sketchy. You'll also often get a false negative. It's very frustrating.
Mm-hmm. Well, so that I think though helps us. So just sort of be on the watch if you have had a tick bite for these symptoms, and then definitely get yourself to the doctor if you think that something is up. And Royale, is there anything else that you want to add to that?
I think what I would add is, and this is coming from, as Ann said, someone who's battled with this for 10 years, right? It took me a year to get diagnosed, from doctor to doctor to doctor, thousands of dollars. It got so bad, the mental fog and the fatigue, that I had to quit my job. We had to drive to Long Island because no doctors up here knew how to treat the 2 infections that I had. Thousands of dollars in debt, 3 years to get through the whole thing, and then, I'm a decade later and still suffering. So I think what I want to say is this affects everybody differently. As Ann said, my symptoms were different. I didn't see the tick. I didn't have a bullseye rash. I had no idea I had been bitten. I lived in upstate, and the first 2 doctors I went to said, we don't have ticks here. I went back later on and said, oh, yes, we do. But so I'd say, I think everybody is different. We need to be informed. We need to know the symptoms, know how to prevent ourselves. I would add to Ann's advice, write it on the calendar when you were bitten, and track, because you may not know, and a month later, you may just feel exhausted, and it may be from that. We often forget, because I would say document all of your symptoms, keep your own records, go to a doctor, insist. So this is one of those instances where there is a varying degrees of knowledge within the medical system. And so we have to learn to advocate for ourselves, and that means we have to be informed consumers. So I'd say, learn as much as you can, because it's not going away anytime in the near future. My guess is it's only going to get worse until we figure it out. And then keep going. If you think something is wrong and you can't figure it out, keep going. Because this is just one of those mimicking diseases that mimic so many other MS, rheumatoid arthritis, right? Lupus, immune, heart, it is just neurological. There are so many facets to this that it can almost present in any way. So I always insist on that test. And as Ann said, the test is still not very accurate, but at least it's something. And I would encourage everyone to do the sort of things that we're doing. Spread the word, tell people to protect themselves, inform yourself, advocate for more research dollars into this problem, because we're not going to fix this problem until we put some money into it. Quite frankly, we need research, we need education, we need to figure out how to combat the tick problem environmentally, and we need better medications and treatments. And all of that is going to take money and information and awareness.
And I am so grateful that you are both here with me today to share with all of our Symphoria patrons about this. And just like we are always asking anyone who loves Symphoria to spread the word and to let people know how much they love coming to concerts and how wonderful it is, I think this is also worth spreading the word. And just, remind your family members, hey, did you check? Are you wearing bug spray? Make sure that you're checking your animals too. I have a little dog and I always give her a check. And so I think the more we can spread the word about all of our wonderful community organizations here in Central New York, the better our community is going to be. And the more supported every member who lives here will feel. So thank you, ladies, so much for being here. And for those of you who are watching, if you have an organization that you would like to be featured in our community spotlight, please reach out to me, Kelly Covert, on Facebook, or you can shoot me an email at kcovert@experiencesymphoria.org. And I will put all of that and also contact information for the CNY Lyme and Tick-Borne Disease Alliance right in the Facebook post. So thank you. And I wish you all to have a wonderful summer with lots of outdoor time and no ticks.
Kelly, thanks so much. And a special shout out to Pam Murchison, who gave us this opportunity. It was really terrific. It's fun talking with you. Thanks.
Thank you. Have a great day, ladies.
Kelly, pull your socks up over your pants when you go outside.
I will do it. Thank you for that.
Okay.